There's many conditions that are represented here, both in the crowd and up here on the platform. Just look around and see that we're making a voice and we're crying out for those who haven't been able to cry out for themselves, who haven't had a voice for themselves. And not only for that, for those who can no longer speak, as we've lost many already. My name is Vince Sievert, and I'll be the MC for this event. I want to officially welcome you to A Hope United, where we're no longer fighting for our own conditions or for our own families. We fight for every family who should have opportunity and relief through medical cannabis. I'd like to recognize a few key players in making this rally possible. Without the efforts of this team behind the vault of a secret Facebook group, we would not be united here today. Corey Lowe, Stephanie King, Sarah Beth Fowler, and Heather Hardage. Those aren't the only names of all who helped, but those are several key players. I have a very personal connection with this cause. My daughter Miranda is currently in Colorado, seeking care, seeking help. A few years ago, she was diagnosed with partial complex seizures, intractable. The medications that she was taking were not working for her. The doctors determined that she was resistant to these drugs. So we were eventually forced to remove Miranda from school. She was not able to retain information she was being taught, and the stresses of school brought on more seizures. After consulting with neurosurgeons, her mother and I were determined to find another option. To her doctors, brain surgery was a common routine. To us, brain surgery should be avoided at all costs. If there was another option out there, we were going to search for it and we were going to find it. Our search for other options other than brain surgery led us to medical cannabis. I was very skeptical in the beginning, concerned that it might just be a snake oil, concerned that it might just be someone trying to make money or a quick dollar. But it was working for some families. I reached out to Alan Peak, and he directed me to some families who are already in Colorado, and they were seeing positive results. We had to give it a chance. Didn't know if it would work. We weren't sure, but we had to try. Moving my wife and two daughters 1,400 miles away was built on hope. Today, I can tell you that hope has been seen as a reality. The frequency of Miranda's seizures continues to fall, even to the point of 17 continuous days without a seizure. Miranda needs a specific ratio of cannabinoids in treating her seizures. The most basic representation of this falls in cannabidiol and THC, the most common compounds. She needs a ratio of about 10 to 1 of these two compounds. The problem in getting that here in an immunity bill is that even if we could ship under the hemp laws, which is less than 1%, the amount of THC in this would not serve my daughter. We have tried several strains, we've tried several ways to get this to her. She needs approximately 4 to 5% THC with an additional 60% of the cannabidiol. That's not legally shippable, not from Colorado, not from any state, not even from our neighbor, South Carolina. My family isn't alone in this dilemma. There's several other families who need this ratio, who needs this extra percentage of THC. Immunity is not going to do us any good by itself. We have to be able to grow in state. We have to be able to cultivate this product in state in order for this to be a usable bill. Georgia needs in-state cultivation to make cannabis oil possible. Immunity alone does not serve Georgia families. You're about to hear testimonies from those who represent Georgia's sufferers. Our first speaker is one who knows all too well the agonies of pain and long-term suffering, and also the first-hand benefits of medical cannabis. She founded the Facebook group Hope for Silent Sufferers, which provided a conduit for support for those hurting. Welcome, Katie Crosby.
Thank you all for being here today. Looking out and seeing these signs and these shirts, and knowing that you stand with us, the suffering, it means the world. It means the world to us. So thank you for being here. You play an important role too. You do. I'm really not here today to give a speech. I'm here today to say that marijuana is medicine. Marijuana is merciful. So Governor Deal, the sheriffs, the DAs, any legislators who oppose this merciful, compassionate bill for the most marginalized in our state, the suffering, I say to you, stop the suffering by passing House Bill 1 with in-state cultivation, because thousands in our state need it to live, to get somewhere, to be able to take a shower, to be able to have any ounce of relief from pain that is agonizing every second of every day, and that leads to multiple suicides in this state, that leads to multiple accidental overdoses in this state, because people cannot take the agonizing effects of pain one more second. And who can do something about it? Who can? It's the legislatures of the state of Georgia who we elected, we the people, and we elected them in to serve us for our good, because those are our rights as citizens of this country. So stop the suffering. Stop my suffering. I can't live right now if I do not have House Bill 1 passed. I need it. 19,000 people on my Facebook group, Hope for Silent Sufferers, need it. So stop the suffering. Since this past September, when I volunteered to testify and share about my pain and what I deal with every day due to fibromyalgia from a major car accident, it's taken a lot of courage to physically and emotionally share the hardships of my life. I've had to be very vulnerable and very courageous. It's been scary, but it's been worth it, because I have nothing to lose and everything to gain from this. I've tried firsthand the wonders of medical cannabis and the cannabis oil that is being proposed in this bill, because over the holiday season, I ran an inflammatory fever for 51 straight days, which you can imagine the pain that it brought to my body. Out of desperation, my mom and I fled to Colorado for the safety and possibility of relief from medical cannabis and cannabis oil. Within 24 hours of being in Colorado and using the cannabis oil that is being proposed in House Bill 1, my fever of 51 days broke. Before I tried the cannabis oil, I could only walk maybe 10 steps before I gave out. Within 24 hours of using the cannabis oil being proposed in House Bill 1, I could walk normally. That is why House Bill 1 should be passed. right now, and that is why we should have in-state cultivation. I was also able to greatly reduce many prescription medications, and finally my central nervous system calmed down so much that the light right now I can stand. I used to sit in a dark room for hours on end because I could not stand light because it hurt so much, and because of cannabis oil I can do that. My mom and I were on our way back home though to Georgia when we got the news that Governor Deal had cut in-state cultivation of medical cannabis from House Bill 1 in Georgia. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to read in my life. You see, to many, seeing this on the news might have come and gone in one ear and out the other, but to the several thousands of Georgians with a pain disorder or with any of the other 17 diagnoses in House Bill 1, it was awful. It added all the more despair. To the governor, this may have been a sensible decision to him at the time, but to the many thousands of us, it meant waiting longer for relief that has been long overdue. Governor Deal was able to simply go back to performing his normal duties, but I, on the other hand, was left feeling hopeless and hurting with hundreds of comments on my Facebook page of despair and hopelessness from the weakest and most hurting in our state. I had to literally prevent suicides, as I have my master's in social work and know the signs and want to prevent that from happening, because that is real for many people in pain. I just pleaded with people not to give up. You see, my Facebook page was called Hope for Silent Sufferers because that is how we often feel, silenced. Over 100 million people in America suffer from severe pain, according to the American Academy of Pain Medicine, but we are still largely unheard, misunderstood, and often feel hopeless as to what to do because all other avenues have failed. Furthermore, so many of the suffering represented here today couldn't be here because of just that. They are suffering. They can't get out of bed, much less get to a rally. So in-state cultivation is so important for those of us in pain because getting to Colorado seems impossible when you cannot get out of bed. Every 19 minutes, someone dies of an accidental overdose, according to Dr. Sanjay Gupta. And most are accidental. And he could not find a single documented case of marijuana overdose. We need to prevent suicides. We need to prevent overdoses. We need to care for the suffering because marijuana is merciful. House Bill 1 is merciful. Please, Governor Deal, sheriffs, and district attorneys, pass House Bill 1 for all diagnoses. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie. Next, you will hear from Melissa Davenport. You may have heard her speak as she spoke at the medical marijuana study hearing. Melissa also understands firsthand what it means to suffer. She will share with us about how medical cannabis could bring relief to MS patients all over Georgia. Please welcome Melissa Davenport.
Make sure I'm a little short here. Thanks for being here today. Can everybody hear me okay? I have MS. I was diagnosed when I was 26. Prior to my life, everything was going great. And then one night, I had a lot of tremendous episodes happen, and they kept saying I was having seizures, no big deal. Then I had a grand mal seizure, and that was like the big thing that really put me to where they diagnosed me to find out, thank you, where they found out that something was going wrong. Until one day I woke up and my eye had went over like a lazy eye and stayed that way. And they knew something was seriously wrong neurologically with me. Then they find out I have MS. And I thought, okay, I never heard of the thing, wasn't talked about. I thought, well, am I going to die? I'm going to live. They said, oh, it's treatable. No, you'll be treatable. It's fine. You can live with this condition. But the problem is they don't go into all the symptoms of the disease. They tell you, you hear MS, and when I tell someone I have MS, the first thing they say is, oh, I'm so sorry. And it makes me feel like, I'm just this pathetic little person, where at times I do feel that way because the pain does get that bad. I just spent this past month alone, I've been in the bed, well, not this past, but from between the end of January to now, I was in the bed for about 2 weeks straight, where I couldn't even get out of bed. Just yesterday, I didn't know if I was going to be here today because I could barely get up out of bed to walk to the bathroom because just the weather affects me. I've got nerve pain over half my body. Along with that, I've got spasticity where my muscles are continuously contracting against each other, which is a very painful condition. Along with that, I'm on the fentanyl patch, which is a very high narcotic, which I've almost overdosed on that twice. Once I went to the hospital, they gave me the wrong medication. They put me in withdrawals within seconds because it took it out of my system within minutes, and it nearly killed me. I've had numerous things, and I've tried to come off the fentanyl patch after that happened to me, and then that sent me to the ER. My doctors decided it's just, I'm just going to have to stay on it. We don't know how to get me off of it because I'm having such a hard time to do that. Without that, I wouldn't even be standing here with you. And to know that I have to have a hard narcotic such as fentanyl, where I could have cannabis oil or marijuana, medicinal marijuana, however you want to put it, smoke marijuana, vaporized marijuana, something that I know that's out there that won't hurt you, won't kill you, you won't OD on, people won't die from. I don't understand it because they're worried about it coming into the state and bringing children getting addicted to it, kids getting recreational. They don't understand is that it's already out here. It's already there. It's in our schools. It's in our communities, and it's been there. And I don't understand why they won't pass. They passed HB1 for seizure disorders, and I want to help these kids because they don't deserve to suffer. For our foremost, that is the most important thing, is to watch a child suffer. I couldn't understand how these parents do it every day to help their children. I don't understand how they have the strength to do it. I know you got to do what you got to do. When the Lord puts it in you, you have to do it. But there's also other people like myself with other people with Parkinson's, ALS, all these other conditions that it can help. And then why would they want to take that out and just say, okay, we're going to let you can be okay, but then these other people, you're just tough luck. You're going to have to suffer. We've already suffered enough. We've suffered basically, some people have suffered their entire lives. And I've suffered almost 20 years with this MS, and it's getting to where it's getting worse, where my legs are not bending the way, they used to bend. I'm getting to where I'm feeling like I'm going to get contractures where my legs are going to stiffen to a point where they won't bend. And it's the most painful condition, and yet to know, well, what they're going to do is give me more narcotics. Let me give you some more narcotics on top of what I've got. I don't want them. I want HB1, I want medicinal marijuana, something that's going to help me that is not going to kill me. I want something that's going to help not only me, but all the people out here, for the people with their families, their children, their aunts, their uncles, their mothers, their grandmothers. It doesn't matter with whether you're old, young, religious views, whatever the difference is. When it hits a person, it hits you. It doesn't have a prejudice against it. And I think we all need to come together and speak out to our legislators, our sheriffs, our DAs, get on the phones, emails, write, whatever we need to do to stop this and get medicinal marijuana and HB1 legalized for all the ailments, to stop the suffering for all the people here in the state of Georgia. Thank you.